All right. It's Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project, and we have a success story that I want to share with you. So it's my friend Dave, and let's see, Dave, I think we met almost a year ago. You sent me a couple emails, and you found
Yep.
Niche Site Project, and then I think through the correspondence, you eventually asked for coaching, and then we worked together for a while, and we haven't talked in a few
Yep.
months, and then we're just checking in. Sounded like your site was actually taking off pretty well, so that's how we got together. But how are you doing today, Dave?
Oh, things are pretty good. Just a regular old work day kind of thing.
Yeah,
And by work I mean I'm going to be doing a lot of like SEO website stuff for at least part of the day, like I usually do.
right on. Yeah, me too. Me too. And I guess we haven't done this format before, but I think we'll probably just like talk through a few questions and just see where the conversation leads. So,
Yeah.
you do some SEO work, of course, and you have some niche sites, but do you have any other job or profession that you work?
Yep. I'm a private music teacher here in Ontario. I've been doing that for I guess, about 10 years, and that's been going pretty well, I guess. But it's not. It's never been like a huge moneymaker. It's always just been something that's kept me going. I also do. I paint as well, so I do a lot of artistic type stuff that doesn't make a lot of like huge money. So that's
Gotcha.
basically what I do. I do other jobs too from time to time, but I never really get into them too much. Yeah.
Understand. An artist, the life of an artist, probably. Okay. Well,
Yeah, it can get.
I'm sorry, what was that?
No, I just like there's been like the poverty times or whatever where I'm like crashing on some guy's floor. That's where I live or whatever. But
Yeah,
it's not right now. It's okay. Things are all right.
gotcha. Some ramen and beer, probably. I've been there too.
Yeah.
All right. So, when did you get started building niche sites and I guess websites in general?
Well, not until I guess it's been about almost exactly 2 years now. So I met you last year, like almost a year ago, and then almost a year before that, like exactly, I was when I basically like dove into it. But before that, I had no experience at all with like making websites, like that kind of thing. So it's been about 2 years now.
Okay. Cool. And yeah, I didn't get started too much before that, but maybe 6 months or so. Okay. Now, obviously, you and I worked together on a particular site, and our focus
Yep.
was around like Amazon type review sites. And I don't want you to
Yep.
reveal your URL or the domain or the niche or anything like that, since
Yeah.
it's obviously a lot of hard work you put into it. But tell us, a little bit about the success that you're seeing right now, and maybe some of the trajectory that you saw when you first started. So what just to keep it simple, right now in
Yeah.
December of 2015, sort of where are you at now?
Okay. So it's been a year since I started that site, and I'm gonna probably make it's right on track to make about $1,000 this month, which is cool. But it's also December, so it's probably a little bit to do with that too. Although it doesn't look too much different from last month. Like I was expecting maybe December to be like crazy somehow, but it's just kicked up a notch, I guess, and it's right on track for like about 1,000.
Awesome, congratulations. That's big money. Probably, I know. For anybody, no matter what job you have, an extra $1,000 is a lot.
It's
So
definitely cool to see it
yeah.
like happening. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then like last, I mean, when we started last year, like because this is the one you helped coach me on. This was sort of the first site that was, I guess, heading in that like on a good track. So all the 4 or 5 sites I had before that they were kind of scattered and going all over the place, and I was just like, I got to figure this out. I've been learning so much over the past year, but just screwing up a lot of things,
Yeah.
and so
Gotcha.
yeah. So this is the first one where I'm like, I'm pretty happy about the trajectory it's been having. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, and take us back a little bit because I know, I mean, I remember when you bought the domain and you were like, "Hey, I picked it out, and I already have like, you know, 10,000 words written," and
Yeah,
we went from there. But so rewind a little bit to say 6 months ago. So right now you're at about $1,000, and there's some effect from the retail season, but say the middle of
right.
the summer, what was it like then? Do you recall?
Yeah. It was that might have been at the peak of my sort of like anxiety for that site because it's right at the point where you're not sure. Like it's starting to make a little bit of money, but you've been working on it for about 6 months straight,
Yeah.
and so you're like, you're like, is it what's happening? Is it gonna like start making anything? And so it's just starting to pull in a few dollars. I think it was around like I might have made like 50 or $100 that month, possibly, maybe just 50 or something. So I was like very trepidatious about it. I'm like, okay, I hope it's starting to work, but it was just after doing 6 months of work on something and making $50, you're still a bit kind of
Yeah.
tense about it, right?
Yeah, you're making like one
Yeah,
cent per hour at that point. So, okay,
yeah.
cool.
So
And then if we rewind to January of last year, I mean that was literally you were laying the groundwork, and the revenue there was zero, and you probably invested a few maybe $100 or so, maybe a little bit more. I know you did most of the writing yourself, right?
yeah, to start off with, I did. Yeah, it was like you're right. It was about 100 or a couple $100 just to get it to do whatever. I forget even like what the money went to exactly. Like, but yeah, I did the initial writing myself, thinking, oh, okay, I'll just you do like some whatever you hear like these like keystone articles where you're like, okay, these are going to be my like key articles,
Right.
and those articles are still. I don't think they're really keystone articles anymore. Like,
Oh yeah.
I thought of them as like being pretty important, and they're floating around in there now, but they're not as maybe not as important as I thought they were.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's like you never know. You never know which ones are really going to be the ones that take off. I mean, you have
Yeah,
hopes and you have a plan, but you have to cast a sort of a wider net, and then you'll see which ones work out.
yeah.
Um,
There's
so let's see, the next thing we probably want to talk about is, let's see, we skipped a few questions, but let's see, I'm looking at my list. Okay, so what do you think the reason this website was successful where maybe your previous attempts were not?
okay. So let me think. Definitely, like the I did a lot more research into the niche first and the keywords and stuff. So and kind of found a pretty good niche. So that had a lot to do with it. I mean, okay, so some of the other sites I did, the products were too like they weren't uh, expensive enough. Like it would be. I did one that was sort of online books or something, and it was so the products would be like some of them were like $1.
Right, right, right.
So I started a few of those, and then I remember just like getting like 5 cents here and there for those, and I didn't really clue in. I'm like, oh yeah, right. They have to be more than that, more than just $1 to buy the product. And then some of them didn't even have really a monetization sort of plan in mind. So
Sure.
that was a problem, I guess. And then there's one that I did in the weight loss where I thought like weight loss, and then realized later I'm like, oh, maybe that was the wrong one to go into, weight
Right.
loss. So so they're all kind of just like poorly chosen, I guess, in a way. Although I still think like in my mind, I'm like I'm gonna come back and save them because they're still like I killed maybe a couple. I still have a couple of them left that are out there, and you know what I mean. I think like I'm not gonna like necessarily get into the specifics, but a couple of them that I'm
Yeah.
referring to that I think that I could probably salvage and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah. So and then so with the one that I got last year, it was just better chosen. Like with the products, there's lots of products, lots of like stuff I could go into, like lots of reviews, all that stuff. The stuff that I heard about, but I just didn't take it seriously enough or
Right.
something. I just thought, okay, well, I don't know. So I don't know what I was thinking before.
Gotcha.
I picked
Okay.
a good one this time. Yeah.
The Well, how did you find the niche and then the keyword research aspect of it?
Yeah, so it was basically like, I went with find something that I'm kind of interested in, I guess, and that kind of helped. And then the keyword research for me is pretty fun. I guess now, like I enjoy it because you're really just hunting for like if you know what to look for, it's a pretty kind of interesting process to see what's out there.
Hmm.
And so I was just sort of digging around, and once I had the general niche in mind, then I basically could sort of I found like all the different sort of like clusters of keywords that were out there. I'm like, oh yeah, this one seems pretty good, and I just sort of sat on it for a while, and then and you were coaching me at that time, so I think you had some pretty good things to say at that time when I was initially doing it. Like I think because yeah, I kind of just I took my time with it, I guess.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned like the sort of like criteria that you're looking for the keyword research. Obviously, I know what I told you, but have you developed some other criteria or theories on keyword research over the past year?
Yeah, like I mean, I've been getting more and more into it, right? So I guess the good thing for me is that I've just my interest is sort of picked up on all this stuff. So I mean, if it didn't really go past where I was last year, I probably like I've been just sort of just driving like trying to getting really into it. And so with the keyword research, after listening to like countless like podcasts and reading articles and just doing all this research on my own, I've gotten sort of like better and better at just sort of looking at the keyword and then doing like I didn't even know what Moz was last year, right?
Yeah.
So now I use Moz and I use a bunch of different tools to actually go, oh, okay, so this and putting it all together, and so I have like a new sort of system. And also like I went through like a little bit of training with the No Hat guys,
Sure. Yeah.
so that was pretty interesting too. So I just sort of like, I mean, that was like a legit internship, I guess. It didn't like go on beyond the like the little segment I took, but it still like taught me a few different like tricks. Like I would, I don't know if we want to get into that, but just like that they have a pretty good sort of thing going too
Sure.
as far as system. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want to give away any of their proprietary secrets. I know they have a lot of stuff over there.
Yeah, it was good to like get in on it, and be like, oh shit, really? Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to like dive in a little deeper, if you could give like any new people a specific tip about like keyword research or anything like that, it's overwhelming at first. There's multiple tools, some work well, some don't. Some people tell you to look for a specific, sort of keyword with a certain volume, and others say don't do that. So, I mean, if just your main takeaway for a new person, what would you tell them?
Um, like I have this one friend that I work with, and he like his thing was he doesn't even really do any of this stuff. He doesn't do like he doesn't think he's doing SEO per se. So he's not like he doesn't do keyword research the way I do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and he's been more successful than me, so
Yeah.
I can't really say like anything to that as far as like, oh well, like he should learn some keyword research because he's been doing it his way. He's got a good like, I guess just after doing it for years and years, you just sort of get a good intuition about it, like he has. But as far as like new people, I mean, like you always have the keyword planner, right? But that and how do I say it? It's like the keyword planner's there, but you can just sort of like if you know what to look for, then it gets pretty clear what you're trying to find as far as keywords. Like you could just type in and get the auto suggestions for
Yeah.
like from Google, right? Like we've talked about that, and
Sure.
so it's not that hard. It's just sort of like if you pick the wrong thing for one of the like the wrong reasons, like there's just then you're going down the wrong path, and you're going to get kind of like it's going to be not a waste of time, but you might not succeed with that particular site. You just can't be discouraged, with that kind of thing. But
Okay.
am I kind of asking the question? I don't know.
I think I think what, yeah, if I had to like to make that a single tip, I don't know if I could do it, but
Yeah.
but it sounds like you sort of just have to pay your dues and spend some time like doing some keyword research and going back to a point you made earlier, I think is key is to make sure you're selecting a product for these Amazon affiliate sites. You're
Yeah.
selecting
So,
a product in which you can actually make money with a 4 to 8% commission. If you're
right.
selling $1 books, like 4 and 8 cents at a time, you have to sell way too many books to make it worthwhile. So,
Right. Yeah. Like I just got something to add. I just thought of it. Okay. So, um, yeah, you gotta sort of like give it time, because if you pick, say, a product that has a good like return, like, or whatever, it's a good price or something, and but then if the competitive landscape is too harsh, then like all those things really matter. So it's gotta, like, people sort of jump the gun, I guess, and they want to just get into it, but if you pick a niche that is just too hard, it's going to be too hard. You're not going to, like, even the one that I picked that is like succeeding, it's still hard. If I would have thought about it a little bit longer and looked a little bit harder, I might have thought, well, this is pretty hard. Like, there's probably easier ones that won't be as big of a pain to like compete with some of these other people. Like, I mean, I could probably just give away the niche right now, because there's already so many people in it doing like these sites. And I'm
yeah,
like, every day I'm like, oh, there's another. Like, how'd that guy get there? Where did he come from? Like,
yep,
Jesus. Like,
yeah, yeah. So, and I see the
yeah.
same thing as
So you got to
well.
just really give it. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
there's so many sites and like it's hard to differentiate yourself, but I think one of the keys, another key that you mentioned is like going after potentially like really low competition type and low volume type keywords where you don't have to do any like link building. Of course, the on page SEO and some of the other aspects are super important, but you don't have to go out and build links, which that's what we're going to talk about next. So obviously, you need to get traffic to your site, and part of the struggle the first 6 months that you were working on the site was like actually getting enough people to the site. And I know we talked about it a lot about trying to optimize your page for conversions to Amazon. And there's sort of like a tipping point, I think, of a certain number of visitors before you can even like make adjustments and like get real feedback. So this is a long question, but as far as link building or getting traffic to your site, what was the approach that you took?
Well, I think according to what we went through last year and stuff, like, you got me sort of going on the blog comment type thing, and that, I think, helps somewhat. But it's like, for me, I mean, I would a lot of those URLs for me that I like drop into those blog comments have probably changed now, because I've been, even lately, I'll look at my URLs and I'll be changing them. So I'll be like, oh, that's not the right like permalink. Like, what the hell? I optimize that better, and so that makes all those links kind of invalid, right? Um,
Well, you could
but
do a we'll talk about it later, but you could be able to put that as a redirect, so you
oh,
redirect it to the proper page because it's the same topic, you just change the URL.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm getting off topic anyway. That's a good way to do it,
yeah.
to start with. um, Also, like, let me think. Just having my biggest sort of success has been with having a good social media outlet. So, like, I didn't think that this would happen, but I got into Google Plus like
Mhm.
pretty hardcore for that, and I think it's been driving a lot of my sales. Which I remember last year, I really hated Google Plus. I just didn't like the format, and people kept telling me that it was dead. It's like, it's going away. It's changing. It's like not gonna
Mhm.
it's not gonna have anybody on it. Things like that, and it's been fine. Like, I've just been getting more and more people following me on Google Plus, and so I get a lot of shares on that. I'm not so big on Facebook. I've tried like Tumblr. I've done Pinterest. I get a lot of Pinterest traffic too. Actually, last year. I spent a lot of time on Pinterest, like, because I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Um, And as far as, but my other tactic that I've just been doing lately, I guess, is just the thing I've been doing like Wikipedia,
Hmm.
which is more challenging, I guess. But it's like I just sort of got attached to it because I was something was pulling me into that. Like I was just
Yeah.
I find it interesting and how that whole thing works. And I think the links are really like good, and they seem to have had an effect too. So it is a little bit like it's like touch and go. It's like hit and miss. There's
Yeah.
people on there that don't want you to, and you can't just put links on Wikipedia, right? Like you have to legitimately follow some rules and stuff.
Right.
But if you can get some of those links, just I think they really help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and does most of your traffic come from organic search?
Actually, the last time I checked it, most of it, like half of it, came from Pinterest, and I that was not like that did not make me
Wow.
happy to see that because I was just like, I don't want my traffic coming from Pinterest, but I think I'm getting more and more, like, cause I'm getting more and more, just even right now, better at the getting the organic traffic coming my way. But you have to like, that's the thing, you have to look at where your traffic's coming from. So I was getting, okay, so if I'm getting like 100 people a day, I'm like, great. And then I think, oh, that must be organic traffic. That must be because of this link building like campaign
Yeah.
that I did. Then you look and you're like, wait a minute, it's like 75% Pinterest people. Like, what the hell? Like, or and if it's like a non-converting stream of people, like I think the Pinterest people, my assessment of them at this point is just that they, for my niche or whatever, they like, I don't think they buy a lot of stuff. So the conversions that I was getting, I think, were coming from more my like Google Plus and my organic traffic. But
Hmm.
I was just getting a lot of traffic that was maybe misleading me into thinking like, wow, I'm getting more people, but they're not like actually
Right.
uh, doing things, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, you said half your traffic is coming from Pinterest. Is that like current day or just the last time that you checked?
That was like, I think a month ago I checked and I was just like, because I was showing somebody my Google Analytics, and
Hmm.
I always take the like if anybody ever is like into this sort of thing that we're talking about, I'm always like excited to talk about it with them. So I was showing somebody like how analytics works, and I'm like, yeah, and you can see where your traffic's coming from right here. And then I look, I'm like, Pinterest, oh, what the hell? Like, I thought it was. I'm like, I thought it would be more organic, to be honest. But then, whatever. But then I learned at some point that from my one buddy, he's just like, what all that matters is your conversion on Amazon. It doesn't matter your traffic doesn't even matter. Your all of this like where it's coming from doesn't matter. What matters is like on Amazon, if you're focused on that, how much of it is converting. I'm like, that's true. I guess I don't even know I have to look at that as much.
Yeah.
So then I started looking more at my Amazon clicks and my like conversions on there, and then that sort of cheered me up. So I'm like, yeah, my conversion rate's not bad. So I guess
Yeah.
I don't have to like worry about that too much. Yeah. So that's the bottom line anyway, I think.
Gotcha. So what's your conversion rate for Amazon?
Right now I think it's like 14, 15.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really good. Um, I think some of my sites I feel pretty good about like 6% or so, and like right
Yeah.
now a particular site that I'll talk about a little bit is just it's something like 20%, like 18-20%, which it's the holidays. That I think that's the reason why. But people are buying like a bunch of stuff instead of just like one or two products. So
Yeah.
um, okay, and let me go back to the question. So you do get a lot of traffic from Pinterest, it sounds like, and you're also getting some organic traffic, which a lot of people are into link building and stuff like that. And I know you and I work together some on that whole process. So you did like blog commenting. You're big into Wikipedia kind of stuff, which is cool. That takes a lot of time, but it's pretty fun once you get them to stick. And then let's see, did you do any like other sort of like Web 2.0 link building or PBNs or anything like that? All right, we're back. We had some major technical difficulties with routers and locations and stuff. We were talking about link building and traffic and that sort of thing. Specifically, anything that you did, Dave, aside from, some of the blog commenting and Wikipedia links. Did you do anything else like Web 2.0s, PBNs, or anything like that?
Yeah, I tried a little bit of PBN stuff with you, and but that was right when I was watching or listening to like the Niche Pursuits podcast on like why you shouldn't have a PBN.
Right.
So I was a little bit paranoid about it, and I wasn't sure. Like I was doing at the time, I think I like hooked up the links to this one site that we had that, and it like it wasn't. I was just turning things. I was just trying. I was like had the link on, then I would take the link off, and I'd watch my traffic. So I tried a little bit of that stuff, and then I'm like, I'll come back to it later, maybe or something, because I never really understood like. I don't understand the technical side of PBNs as much as some people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, when I understand it a little bit better, then maybe, because I don't want to like, really mess with anything too much because, I was sort of I felt like I was getting somewhere and I'm like, but anyway, I also did some, I guess I did Web 2.0 stuff because I made a few accounts here and there and set them up and stuff, but that was never really my thing either. And then for like the guest posting, I've yet to get into the groove of that. I'd like to do that more. I would like watch I'd read a blog post on Backlinko, and it would be really inspiring because I'd see him. He'd lay it all out. He lays it all out, right? But it still seems really complicated to me because it sounds like such a long process.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas other things, I mean, making a blog comment just takes you as long as that takes you, which is like, you could do like 5 of them. It would take you like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Doing something where you have to like, some of the things that he has on his site, they're just, they're a little bit beyond me. He makes it sound like it's easy, but I'm like, that doesn't sound that easy. Like,
Yeah.
But maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I have a tendency to do that. I'll just be like, oh, I can't deal with this right now. And then I'll, whatever. So
yeah. So and we can come back to that, but I think I think you're right. It does sound easy. Each one of the steps, usually it's pretty straightforward.
yeah,
Find a blog to post on, send them an email, write the post, and then go on. And it's kind of a sales situation. So like you have to send a lot of those emails, and it can take a long time. There's ways to speed it up using different tools and stuff to send out more emails faster, and then it makes it a lot easier. But at the end of the day, it's like you send an email, you write a post, and then they publish it. Like that's easy, right?
That's easy enough. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds super easy. Okay, but you did a little bit of Web 2.0. You have like one PBN link maybe, and then otherwise like your site is like blog comments and social, right? That's the traffic sources.
Pretty much, yeah. But I'm going more towards like just being very exact with my keywords now. Like I think I've been doing it again and again, just trying to write what Google, like I've been looking at what Google really wants, right? I'll do more like SERP analysis. I'll be like, I'll look at the keyword and then I'll look at the SERP, and then I'll look at everybody who's in the SERP, and then I'll be like, I think I know what to do this time. Like it's taken me a year, but I feel like I know how to really write for what Google wants a little bit better. So I mean, that's my main thing, is that like once you have a bit of traffic going, I think it's not impossible to rank for certain keywords if you really give like Google what it wants.
Right.
You just have to sort of really acknowledge that. Because thought I was good at that before, but I clearly was not good. I would change the, like if there was a specific like keyword, I would change it so much that it wasn't even related anymore, and I would still expect to rank for it, things like that. And
Right.
So I've changed that my sort of strategy with that a lot. So that's sort of what I'm sort of focused on at the moment, I guess. Just really looking at those keywords, because there's so many. You can just, and I'm a writer, like that's sort of my thing. So I sort of enjoy that method too, because it's just very find the right keyword, write specifically about that keyword, and give Google what it wants. So that's not really like a link building tactic, but
Right.
it's a tactic.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to the heart of like what we're trying to do and like give information, like useful information to the visitor and like help them in some way. And
Yeah,
then, you know, if you're doing anything else, it's just sort of garbage information. And that's what a lot of the sites that we see, you know, in the SERPs that maybe they're not doing very well, or maybe they have a lot of, you know, backlinks and they really don't provide the right information, that sort of thing. You see that often, especially when people hire just a random writer to write some stuff for, you
yeah,
know, bottom dollar. Like you're going to end up with stuff that doesn't make sense. But you're like, you know, you're writing volumes on this stuff, so
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that kind of stuff out there, and it still manages to rank sometimes. So I mean
yeah,
that gives you hope in the sense of you think, well, that guy shouldn't be there. You know, I can definitely be there instead of that guy. I don't know how
right,
that guy got there, but
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So let's see here. We talked about link building a lot, and then okay, so the success from this website, how has it impacted your life?
It's pretty much. I mean, I'm not really like the kind of person that says like, "Oh, this changed my life" or anything. But this has really changed a lot of things that I do. And like, I mean, it's sort of, it's a whole new. I didn't even realize this was something you could do like as a job. This is like a job, you know. This is, and that's sort of what I wanted it to be, like from the beginning, I guess. But it wasn't something that I could make it into a job at first. But now it's like I want this sort of to be my main gig if I can pull it off because it's really interesting and it's just it's really time consuming too and it's a lot of work and but if you enjoy it like I enjoy it quite a bit actually but I mean it's not going to replace the things that I really like to do like you know if I like to record music and stuff like that but I do want to like eventually tie it all together like that's the dream right but I mean I want to keep ramping it up and sort of getting more into it because it's just it's sort of a pretty fun.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, it is, and it's you know, it's pretty cool. Like you could start another one, and you know, reinvest your profits into you know more content, and or you could just you know you don't even have to start another one. You could just keep building out the one you have. You know,
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, that's easier, especially with the sandbox being the way it is, and you have a site that has traffic. You can funnel people from your you know your pages that get a lot of traffic over to ones that are newer and you know it's just kind of I think it's at this point it's a little easier to build something bigger than to start a fresh one from scratch so
it's true. Yeah, and I just bought a new domain the other day, thinking like I have this great new idea, and
yeah
then it's something that just takes a lot of time to get into. Like I can't even really get into it, even though it's there.
yeah
I bought it. I set it up. I'm like, this is great, but then just to even get your mind shifted over to that whole other topic, it's kind of hard. And you might as well, if you have one that's working. Like for me, the one that's working is working pretty well. So I just keep hammering on it because I'm like, it's Christmas. Like I could make an extra, you know, $500 this month if I like keep on the ball rather than just suddenly drop it and go over to my other news site. You know, isn't going to pick up till like next Christmas. So
yeah
if I,
exactly
so yeah, that kind of thing.
okay that totally makes sense and is there any additional tips or advice that you would offer others to replicate your success
Um, well, success is just, it's funny because it's just like, I don't feel like that successful. Like I kept setting like these goals, like if I can make $500 in a month, that's a goal, kind of that kind of thing. And as soon as I would hit that goal, I would just be like, okay, forget about that. Next goal. You know,
yeah
I would really like I would give myself like 1 second of like, you know, good job. And then I just keep like, because there's really no time to like, you know, if you're in the process of doing it, it's just, you want to just keep going. But I guess just, you really have to, I don't know, like it's hard to, you can't make people really be interested in things they're not interested in. So, I mean, I'm trying to say like, you find something that you're really like can sort of have a bit of passion for, like in this, so that it's not you're not just adding garbage to the internet. Right? That's the main thing is to like if you can actually add something valuable to the internet, like holy smokes, right? Like that's amazing.
yeah no kidding yeah and I guess one thing I find interesting, right? So you had very little background in this, like niche site stuff. Like, did you know WordPress beforehand? Maybe a little bit.
Oh no, I
No.
didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Like it took me like a month to get the site actually up. I just remember watching a lot of videos, being like, okay, I got to set up this website, and I just didn't even have a clue. Like I was just like
Yeah.
really up to lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I had no idea. I didn't know what a niche site was. And I remember, years back in like 2009 or something, I would search for a particular thing I needed help for, and I would find some site that had like terrible information, and that was like my first exposure to one of these sort of sites. But yeah, I mean, the cool thing, right? So you have like an art and like music background. I have like computer engineering and like project management background and software and stuff. And like we started about the same time, and like we
Yeah,
didn't know WordPress, and like you can just get started. There's like very little barrier to entry, so it's
pretty.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's true. There really isn't a lot of. It doesn't cost very much, to get a website up, and that's pretty much it. You can do all the content yourself if you want.
Yeah,
It's easy to spend a lot of money on this stuff, but you don't have to.
right. Yeah, yeah. It's and some people want to outsource everything and maybe like have $1,000 invested in content or something like that, or you
Yeah,
could spend the time and do it on your own and really go through the whole process to understand it. So
I think you really should, because how else are you going to really understand what's going on if you just immediately start outsourcing everything? Like it doesn't make any sense to do that to
yeah,
me.
yeah, and yeah, okay. I think that covers most of the questions. And I know, in the other notes we have, we'll have a place where people can get in touch with you. And I mean, are you looking to form any sort of mastermind group or just chat with people about internet marketing stuff or niche sites or anything in particular?
Hey, like I'm up for kind of anything. If there's anyone out there that listens to this and wants to like start any kind of group or something, like I always tell people that I would love to do that, but I just find there's not too many people that have the time that want to do that. But if there is anybody out there, I'd love to like talk to that person.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah, reach out to Dave if you're interested in talking shop. And, he came from ground zero about a year ago, and now he has a site that, in the last few months it's made, probably what, close to a couple $1,000 total.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, not anyone can do it. You have to put in the time. You're not just anyone, Dave. You put in a lot of hours. So,
Anyone can do it. No,
congratulations. It's quite impressive. And, I'm excited to see like what your totals will be for the end of December. And from my observations, January doesn't drop off a cliff. People
oh,
get gift cards and they spend it in January. So, you usually got a few more weeks of good times.
that's funny because I was expecting to just be completely depressed as soon as January hit. I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be
Yeah.
a letdown.
No, no, it'll probably stay even for a little while, and then the other thing is you get paid 2 months later.
That's true.
So at least you'll be happy in February. You're getting the December paycheck.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like, I mean, I'm glad that I've gotten this far to see the December kind of shopper kind of mentality happening, because I haven't seen this before until like right now. So I'll look on my Amazon account and be like, holy shit! Like
Yeah,
people are just buying all sorts of stuff, right? And I guess they're just clicking my links. So it's just it's really neat,
yeah.
to watch it.
All right. Well, cool. Thanks for spending the time today, Dave. And yeah, we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, sounds good, Doug.